I surrender to the Almighty my mind, speech and body. Vanakkam, we are reading Thirukkural, one of the important books given to us by our Tamil ancestors. It is a book on Aram. Aram is a term that refers to the order that we find in creation, and our ancestors were able to observe this order and apply the principles to the various aspects of human life. And in this book, Valluvar is teaching us two Arams, Illaram and Thuravaram. Illaram tells us how to form attachments in our married life so that we can enjoy the married life in the right way. Illaram, Valluvar says, will naturally lead us to a phase of life called as Thuravu, where we will want to let go of the attachments and expand our circle of love to all forms of life. The Aram for this stage is called as Thuravaram. Illaram will lead to Thuravaram, and this will take us to our final destination called Veedu or Mukti. And this is the path of life shown by Valluvar in this book. We are at the first chapter called as Kadavul Vaazhthu in the Payira viyal of the Arathu Paal. This chapter talks about God, what is His force called as God, and how we can use our mind, speech and body to reach Him. But why mind, speech and body? Because in this life, when we say that we are doing something, it means not only moving our body to do a task, but also talking and even thinking. That is why Valluvar is telling us how to align all three, that is our mind, speech and our body, to the higher intelligence that we call as God. And this chapter also talks about what a journey of life would be like in the absence of God. I will now give a quick summary of the Kurals that we have done so far. Kural 1 showed us how God is fundamental to creation. In Kural 2, we saw how our education can be a journey towards Veedu. That is, from education we move to knowledge and then to discipline, to love and finally to unconditional love called as Arul. This will lead us to a space of complete knowledge, which is also referred to as the feet of God. Kural 3 told us that we can reach Veedu simply by engaging in the worship of God using our mind. We saw that God comes in any form that we desire, and that too in a hurry to reside in the devotee's mind. In Kural 4, we saw an important truth that we become that thing that we cherish. So using this ability of humans, Valluvar showed a way to reach Veedu or Mukti. He said that when we cherish the qualities of God, then we are effectively engaging our mind in the worship of God, and slowly we can acquire His qualities and thereby reach Veedu. Kural 5 addressed the worship using our speech. Valluvar showed us that expressing our true gratitude to God in our speech is a way of worshipping Him in our words, and this is one way to break the cycle of rebirths. Kural 6 showed us how to use our sense organs to reach Veedu. This is one way to engage our body in worship. Kural 7 showed us how a journey of life would be without God. This Kural told us that it would be very difficult even to come out of our worries, and we will be stuck in the cycle of rebirths. Kural 8 also showed us a journey of life in the absence of worship of God. It said that in the absence of worship, not only would we be stuck in the cycle of rebirths, but even in this current birth, the wealth and the pleasures cannot be enjoyed in peace. So that's the summary of the Kurals that we have seen so far in this chapter. If you notice in Kurals 2 through 6, we saw the different ways of worship using our mind, speech and body, and how to reach Veedu or Mukti or Moksha. In the Kurals 7 and 8, we saw the consequences of not aligning the mind in worship. We are yet to see the consequences of not engaging our speech and body in worship, and we will see them today in the 9th Kural. The 9th Kural goes like this: KoLil Poriyin gunamilave gunathaan thalai vanangaa thalai. The overall meaning of this Kural is, just as how the sense organs that fail to perform their respective functions are considered useless, the head that does not bow to the one with 8 qualities is also considered useless. Why is Valdavar talking about the sense organs? And who is this, the one with 8 qualities? Let's see. This Kural addresses the consequences of not engaging the body in worship. So Valdavar is talking about the sense organs in the body. We have 5 sense organs, namely skin, tongue, eyes, nose and ears. These sense organs enable us to have a meaningful interaction with the world. When we say that we are using this body to interact with the world, interaction is possible only because of the presence of our 5 sense organs. These 5 sense organs are critical in receiving the input from our surroundings. And once we get the input, we use our intelligence to process it and make decisions. Without these sense organs, our interaction with the world would be very challenging. Imagine what it would be like if the skin cannot feel, the tongue cannot taste, the eyes cannot see, and the ears cannot hear, and the nose cannot smell. How can we understand anything around us? We would be in complete darkness, isn't it? If my ears are not able to hear anything, then this physical part, my ear, is useless to me. If I have eyes, but the eyes don't have the ability to see, then the eyes are of no use to me. The sense organs should have the ability to grasp the sensation from the world. Otherwise, there is absolutely no use in having them. We would be struggling in darkness. And once we receive the input from the sense organs in the right manner, we should process the sensations in the right manner and arrive at the right decisions and move towards our goal. In our case, our final goal of reaching mukti or moksha or Veedu. This whole chapter is about reaching Veedu, right? Now, Valdavar says that in order to receive and process these sensory inputs in the right manner, we need to submit the sense organs to the higher power. Why? Why should we submit the sense organs to God, and how? Well, it looks like it is a way of aligning our intelligence to the higher intelligent entity that we call as God. See, in all the Kurals that we have seen so far, we saw how to submit our mind, speech and body to the higher power, and how such a surrender would help us to make use of the higher intelligence to reach Veedu and liberate ourselves from the cycle of rebirth, isn't it? So similarly, submission of the sense organs is necessary to align our intelligence in tune with the higher intelligence, so that the input from the world is received in the right manner, processed in the right manner, and it will move us in the right direction towards our final destination. Otherwise, without proper guidance, we will be pushed into the darkness of the intelligence and we could just be stuck in the sensory pleasures for several births. Okay, the next question that could come is, how do we submit our sense organs to the higher power? Now, if you notice, all our sense organs are present in our head. Our eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin, they're all found in the head. No other body part has all the sense organs together in one place. So we can use this head to physically bow like this with the intentions of surrender. Then we are effectively submitting our intelligence to God. That is, we are aligning our source of intelligence to the true source of knowledge. This way, the intelligence that we receive from the world will be directed towards liberation. Valdavar says that this is the purpose of our head, to physically surrender our organs of intelligence to the higher intelligence. So when we bow our head, it means that we are bowing with all the 5 senses. That is why we have the habit of bowing our head in prayers. Now Valdavar is making a comparison. He says, when the sense organs do the respective functions, we can receive the input from the world and there is some meaning to life. When the sense organs fail to do their job, we will be struggling in darkness. Similarly, when the head does its job of surrendering the sense organs, we will be able to make use of the sensory inputs in the right manner and move ourselves towards liberation. If the head fails to do its job, then we will be suffering in the darkness of intelligence. So that is what this Kural is trying to tell us. If we don't use the head to surrender the organs of intelligence to the higher power, then there is no use in having the head. Just as how there is no use in having the sense organs that don't perform their job. It's a very simple concept, yet a very powerful one. Without worrying about anything else in the world, simply use this head to bow down to the higher power and all the possibilities will open up, including mukti or Veedu. And I feel it's such a simple and easy thing to do to attain something so big. There is another interesting piece of information in this Kural. When talking about God, Valluvar describes him as an entity with 8 qualities. What are they? And why 8? And can God be reduced to such a finite set of 8 qualities? Let's see. First, let's see what the 8 qualities are. The first quality is he operates independently. What do we mean by that? Do we not operate independently? Well, they say that our actions are always influenced by our desires. We don't operate independent of our desires, whereas he operates independent of any desire. While this sentence, he operates without any desires, may seem like it makes sense, but we still don't understand what it would be like to operate independent of any desires. That's not there in our experience. So let's keep this quality aside for now. The next quality is he is the one with the pure body. What is that? Are our bodies impure? Our body is clean when we wash it in the morning, but it tends to get dirty during the day. But his body is considered pure always. What does it mean? Again, we don't have an experiential understanding of this quality. So let's move on. The third quality is he is the one with natural intelligence. They say that our intelligence is acquired by learning the alphabets, words, and all that we learn in our education. But his intelligence is not acquired, it is natural. What is that natural intelligence? Again, we have not experienced that. The fourth quality is he knows and understands everything. Again, knowing everything there is to know. Such kind of knowing everything is not there in our experience, right? The fifth quality is he is someone who is naturally devoid of any desires. We all experience desires. We understand that. But what is it like to be devoid of desires? We don't understand that. The sixth quality is he possesses universal love in its highest form. We understand love. We know how to be loving towards certain life forms. But what is it like to be overflowing with love for all of creation, the highest form of universal love? Again, we don't have that in our experience. The seventh quality is he is someone who has endless capabilities. All our skills and capabilities have some limit. But they say that he is someone with limitless capabilities. What would that be like? We have no experience of that. The last quality is he is an abode of limitless happiness. The happiness that we experience has some limit, but he is the experience of endless happiness. That is also something we cannot truly comprehend. It's not there in our experience. So then it looks like all of these 8 qualities are telling us that God is someone who has all the best qualities but still infinite, limitless capabilities, endless knowledge, endless bliss, purest body. He seems to possess all the good qualities in an infinite scale. So why did Valluvar focus on these 8 qualities? Does this mean that we have somehow managed to reduce God to our level of understanding? Parimalaga says that in the Shaiva Agamas, by the way, Agamas are sacred Hindu texts, and they say that there are 28 Shaiva Agamas. So Parimalaga says that in the Agamas, these 8 qualities are mentioned as the qualities of God. Thirukkural and Parimalagar are honest in their work. Whenever necessary, they give proper reference to the relevant literary work and mention it as supporting evidence. In some other Kural, we will see later on that they refer to the Shankya literature, and here they are referring to the Shaivite literature. So in the Shaiva Agamas, these 8 qualities are mentioned as the qualities of God. That does not mean that they have successfully measured the qualities of God and reduced the definition of God to a set of 8 qualities that we can understand. No, it still means that we cannot fully describe him using our words. Now, Parimalagar says that the yogic literature also talks about 8 qualities called as siddhis or capabilities like anima, mahima, lahima and all that. Some people who follow the yogic literature tend to understand that those are the 8 qualities of God. Parimalagar neither supports nor contradicts that idea. He also tells us that there are some other groups of people that talk about 8 other qualities such as endless intelligence, endless love, etc. Like that they have 8 qualities. Again, Parimalagar neither supports nor contradicts that idea. The essence of all of this is that God is infinite and he cannot be completely described by the human mind. And I personally find that fixing such an infinite idea for God is helpful to move forward in life. Throughout this chapter, we have seen that our cognitions are very important as they move us in some direction in life, isn't it? So I think it is better to keep this infinite cognition for God. Any trait that we can think about, he is the best and limitless. Sometimes I wonder what that would be like, being the best at everything, always, extremely wise, extremely intelligent, beautiful, strong, clever, healthy, rich, kind, understanding, patient, all in the extreme. It does make me feel a little positive to think about such a God. Anyway, there is a word called gunathaan in this Kural. It means the one with 8 qualities. I understand all the 8 attributes, so in that way God seems like an idea that my mind can sort of grasp. At the same time, the limitless nature allows me to be comfortable with the unknown. God is like the superhero and more. Always the best at anything and everything, and anything is possible for him. Some things that are impossible for me, like moving a mountain, is a possibility for him. So I really like this cognition of God. It is very positive, and more importantly, it allows the mind to visit the possibility side of life. So anyway, now coming back to the Kural, this Kural says that just as how the sense organs that fail to perform their respective functions are considered useless, the head that does not bow to the one with the 8 qualities is also considered useless. So in this 9th Kural, Vallavar has talked about the consequences of lack of worship of God using the speech and the body. What is the consequence? Well, we will have simply wasted our time on the earth playing with the sensations received from the sense organs. That's all. Then what to do with the sense organs and the sensory inputs? Simply use the head to bow as a way to surrender the sense organs to the higher power, and we will be pushed in the right direction, say Vallavar and Parimalagar. Now Parimalagar says that in this one Kural itself, Vallavar has explained the consequences of not worshipping God in the speech and the body, because when we say sense organs, we include the mouth also, and when you say bow down to God, you cover the worship using our body. So both are addressed in this Kural. And with that, we come to the end of the 9th Kural, and I hope that made some sense. There is only one more Kural in this chapter, and we'll see that in the next session. I shall end here and learn to use my head to bow to the Almighty. I thank you all for listening. Nandri Vanakkam.